All right. So I think I call this, like I said, my first real validation. My mother sells bread in Port Harcourt. She distributes it to people and whatnot. So there's this bakery. What I used to do then, I have to go by 5 a.m. to help her keep space so that she can be able to get bread. So somebody had taught me about sending proposals. So if you see a company, their design is not really nice, propose that they should use this design or whatnot. You get? So I used to just pack bread and I saw these designs and I was like, these designs are not nice. Why not I do something better for the company? And so I did these designs that in retrospect now they are not still nice, but they were better than what I saw. And so I did these designs. I sent them both the mock-ups and the raw files to their email. And then I used to charge 1,000 naira, 500 naira for designs. Then this was 2020 still. COVID year, I did a lot of things. So I sent it to their email. And one day I came out to pack bread for my mom and I saw my design in real life. This did not pay me. So one guy said, sue them. My father said, I beg you. This is where we bring money from to feed the family. If they say they want to use it, let them use it. So I kept on, I think I went to meet the manager. I was like, sir, what's going on? I'm seeing my design. You guys didn't even reply my email. Like I see on that email now, you didn't reply it. I just saw my designs. And so he then told me, increase. Don't worry. In this life, have patience. We'll get back to you. Calm down now. He ended it all. So he reached out to me. He called me on phone. I think he called my dad's phone. And I picked the call and I was like, he asked me, how much is this design going to cost? What was my mind was 2,000 naira. Have you thought of 100 things in 2 seconds? I was about to say I said 10,000 naira. He said, all right, that's fine. I'll send it for you. My God. I got paid my first 10K. I swear. So the next slide. So then I think I did a couple more designs for other bread company designs and whatnot. There was this story I told when I was advertising this event about a lady that owed me up until the extent that when I was about to collect my money, she told the driver to chase me out of the car. Yeah, so this happened end of 2020 to late into 2021. She was owing me, I used to charge stupid things then. I used to charge 2K, 1K. So 2K, 1K, 2K, 1K compounded. And it came out to I think 22,000 she was owing me. So one day she reached out to me and she was like, she needs me to print some stickers for her and paste it on. She had a tanker. She does oil and gas business and whatnot. I don't know why I didn't just click it, that these people have money. So she took me to the place. First of all, she paid me 5,000 instead of 10,000 for the print, not for the design. But she wanted 2 prints. So I told her, man, why not just pay the full thing? You get, I don't know if I'm going to talk about this later on, but all these people that come and meet you, especially because a lot of us that start designs, we started very young. There are a lot of people that come and meet you, my boy, my son. I know where my mother is. You're not my son. I'm not your father. Don't they do that thing, man? So she was doing a lot of that, my son, so I was very young, I'm still very young, and healthy. She paid 5K. She took me to the place, we collected the print, we went to put the sticker, and I'm not going to the sticker didn't come out. You get? But I told her, ma, please, if it's because of the sticker, don't pay me for the design you're wearing. Just pay me for the print. Let me go and give these people. I told this, I was in her car. You get? So I was telling her, she said, increase. I have a meeting at Woji. Let me just go to Woji and come back. I was saying, let me tell you guys, OPay was available there, right? Transfer doesn't take time. You don't have to go to the bank to transfer. If you don't bring out your phone, transfer this 5K for this poor boy in the university. You get? And so it was back and forth, and she now told that driver, get this boy down from this car by any means possible. They dragged me down by force. I think I had an injury or something. That day, I called Rob. I was like, guy, beg, find me 5K. I beg you. I'm saying they go through all issues. You get? Then I think there's something that my mother has. It's called a body tell. My mother just called me out of the blue. Son, I feel it in my spirit that something is wrong. What's wrong? I said, Mommy, nothing is wrong, nothing is wrong. She said, I was crying. I was trying to, when you're trying to hide crying. So she found out that something was wrong. I told her about it. She told my dad. My dad collected the woman's number, threatened her with police. In less than a week, my dad told me that I should calculate everything that this man was owing me, send it to him. He sent it to her. The woman paid me. That's how that story ended. Yeah, the next one. Yeah, in 2021, what happened? What's that? In 2021, I got my first ever job at a photography studio, and yeah, it was an amazing job. This was the first day. This was the first day I resumed, and this was on my birthday. So that is almost exactly 5 years ago from now. You get? So it was on my birthday. I went there and I told them, oh, my cousin said I should come here that I can get a job here. They told me, they called my cousin, it's nepotism, so they didn't have to collect my CV or anything. I think the next day then I started, and the pay was 20K monthly. And my cousin was so gracious to the extent that he told me that even when school resumed, because this was holiday, even when school resumed, I just have to come Fridays and Saturdays, and Saturdays and Sundays after church. They still pay my 20K. That was good, amazing stuff. You get? Then I think later that year I started my YouTube channel. I was like doing mostly like theological content. So next slide. And yeah, I met amazing people. Then I can't talk about my design journey without talking about joining CCI. You guys know CCI, right? I think a lot of you are in CCI. So a lot, no, some of you. So CCI really helped me. I met this guy. His name is Mebaka. Mebaka is not a fun designer. He likes brand guides, layout systems, design thinking, Pythagoras theorem, I'm joking. All those thirds, rule of thirds, all these things. And they really helped me. You get? The first ever brand guide I saw in my life was the one that Mebaka did for. The first ever brand guide I saw in my life was the one that Mebaka did for a client, and it really inspired me. You get? And even just being in the ecosystem around seeing excellent designs come out, it really helped me. It was a benchmark for me because I was in the design team. If your design is not fine, I can remember being in CCI and designing up to 5 times, and they didn't use my designs. You get? It had to make you level up. And this was 2021. Yeah. Yeah, the next slide. I think I need to fix this slide. It's supposed to be easier than this. Yes. Then this company, I'm changing their name. So I'm not calling anybody's name, right? Yeah, so because I'm still young, let them not. So yeah, I got somebody from Red Carpet referred me to his brother that wanted to do a rebrand. And the name of the brand was Preshi Cafe. This was my ever first branding gig. And I was so excited about it like mad because I had seen a brand guy. And I was not like, yes, this logo something is not supposed to just be logo. There needs to be more to it, you get? And so I just got a client that told me he wants to do logo. I said, no, don't do logo. You can't do only logo. You need to add other things to it. Do a brand guide. You guys say, what does that mean? I sent him a sample of what a brand guide looks like. He bought into the idea. I think then I used to charge 3K for logos. So I did 15K for a brand guide. And this brand identity is still on my Behance, so you can see how to check it out. And yeah, YouTube became my mentor again. And I fell in love with brand design as well. So I continued. This was my first ever. In retrospect, I can't just unsee that this thing looks like a bomb. But then it was I had a backing to it. It was an amazing idea. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're the client hearing this, come for a rebrand. I'll still charge you. Go down. Yeah, in 2020, I think that was 2022, but in 2023, so that's 3 years ago, I got a job with my first ever international client. I think I skipped a lot of things before here because there's a lot of trauma in the story. So I don't want to teach you people trauma. But yeah, I think this is where the wins started happening in my life. In 2023, first of all, I increased, see me, many knows me. I increase my prices as they go. So if my highest price now is, then my highest price was 80K for a brand identity design, and somebody paid for it. Because that highest price is unbelief. Can somebody ever pay for this thing? If somebody not pay for it, I increase it like mad. You get? If you refer your friend and your friend tells you, this is what I paid for it, I'm sorry. You get? Yeah. So, but yeah, I got a job, 80K. I think that was Bellum. I think I did this slide. Bellum paid me. And I think there was public holiday or all this. Like, I think it was a Muslim holiday, but it was a week long. I designed Bellum. It was amazing. I think it was about 20 something slides then. It's still an amazing project up until now. You get? But yeah, I got my first international client with a movie company in Canada. I was paying 150 Canadian dollars. And if you convert it, it was between 80K, 90K, 100K. Because that was the year that dollar was fluctuating a lot. You get? I worked with them for about 5 months or so. Yeah, so what I was doing is, I worked with them for 8 months. Yeah. I was saving 50K. So I borrowed 350,000 naira from somebody in CCI. I'm going to keep on saying CCI because it has changed my life. So, yeah, somebody in CCI gave me 350,000 naira and I bought this laptop. When I bought it, it was not as bad as this. Yeah. So, but I kept on paying 50K every end of the month to get to complete the reason why it's 8 months was because I think 1 month, because of project defense and whatnot, I couldn't be able to meet up to pay the same 50K or something there. But it took me like 8 months, 9 months there to completely pay for it. You get? Scroll down. Then, yeah, in 2024, also in 2023, I stopped the job with the Canadian clients because that was the heat of my final year project. And if you know anything about architecture, it's very hectic. You get? So I couldn't keep up with, because we have different time zones. And I told him right from the beginning that, I can't keep up with like urgent jobs. I need planned jobs so that I can work in my schedule. You get? But in 2024, there was an architectural company I have been working with since 2022. And they told me that when you finish school, we have a job for you. So this paid me 30K then. This paid me 30K a month to design flyers. First of all, the job came as to design flyers, like social media flyers, but the way it works, it moved on to other things to design. I was doing video editing for them. I was doing video editing for them, still for 30K. And so this guy told me that I should come and work for him in Lagos. And to be very honest, I was very excited about going to Lagos because I just wanted to go. I wanted to be a learning experience. I don't think I was the most serious student when I was learning architecture because I was doing graphic design most of the times. So I wanted experience so that I can venture into architecture. But it was when I went to Lagos, I worked for him as an architect and a graphic designer, and then he increased my salary from 30K to 50K. And then it was not easy. My transport to work and back every day was 3,000 naira. So money has already finished. And so I think what we now did is we reduced the amount of time to come to work to 3 times. You get, to try and manage costs and to make it make sense with the graphic design, with the salary. You get. I went to Lagos January 15th. I came back from Lagos February 28th. I told him I couldn't stay anymore because I was not making money. Where I was staying was not really a good accommodation. There was no lights. So I couldn't even do other jobs. For me to work, I had to go to a workspace that was very far. If you know where Lagos is, let me tell you this funny story. When I was going to Lagos, I asked the guy, where is your office? He said, my office is in Lekki. I said, okay. I asked my friend I wanted to stay with, where is your house? He said his house is in Ibejuleki. Hi guys. Ibejuleki is not the brother of Lekki. Ibejuleki is far from Lekki. See, it's so far that if you didn't sleep in the night, and I used to do my devotion there, read Bible, join T30. I can even listen to, like, if you sleep when you enter the bus, you wake up twice before you get to where you're going to. It was very far. Do you get? So that was one thing that I think, and yeah, it didn't just make sense. So, but the money I made then was a few times I went to the workspace to work. So what I was doing is I was batch working. Okay, you have a flyer, and then I think this was, it was when I went to Lagos. The first day I went to Lagos, I increased my price from 5,000 naira for flyer to 10,000 naira because I knew it was not possible again. So yeah, what I was doing when I'll batch do work together. I'll go to the workspace, do a lot of works, log in, then make money. But so at the end of February, I started thinking of these things. Why did you even want to do this architecture something? I prayed to God about it. I talked to my friends about it. I think God gave me a word that the issue is not whether to do architecture or not. The issue is I'm worried about how my life is going to turn out for whichever one I pick. And so there's this scripture in the Bible that talks about the fact that if God feeds the birds of the air, who are you that you cannot take care of? And so it is not whether to do architecture or to do graphic design. Choose anyone you're going to choose, and you will not see fall out of God's plan for you. And so that was the word I got, and I decided that, man, I ain't doing this architecture thing anymore. I came back to Port Harcourt. I stayed for 6 months, and then I returned back to Lagos. I think, no. Let's talk about Port Harcourt a little bit next time here. So came back to Port Harcourt. I was still working for the Lagos company, but just as a graphic designer, and as petty as it was, I reduced my salary back to 30K. I worked for a crypto company, terrible experience as well. I asked the architectural company in Lagos to give me a raise. Like, I can't keep on working with them. Expenses, I'm no longer in school at this point, you get? And there's no need to waste my time. Like, this time I'm spending with you, I can use it to do so many other things. You know that this guy increased my salary from 30K to 120K. That seems like a good thing, but it's a very bad thing. If he can increase it when I complained, why don't he increase it soon? You get? And there's something that I heard from Rob. He told me that if you have to tell a company to increase your salary, they will add more work for you because they didn't even see the need in the first place to increase your salary. You get? So yeah, I asked for it and increased 120K, and he told me that he's starting a new company and he wants me to be a designer for him too. Then I worked for a crypto company. I had to leave because the place was very unprofessional. I don't want to go into it. And yeah, I left. So after 1 month of paying the 120K, the next month, I think I just worked for like a week, and I didn't hear from them. At the end of the month, I didn't hear from them. The next month, he now told me one story like that, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't pay my salary up until now. Let's go. So yeah, Tricona experience. While I was working for the crypto company, I got a gig from Tricona to design flyers for them. They said the co-founder of Tricona designs, and he realized that the workload on him was getting more, so he had to hire a designer. He knew that it was time to outsource designs, and so he gave me some designs. It was the first ever design I did for Tricona. So I worked on some designs, and after working on those few designs, the CEO of the company, he told me that he really likes the work I'm doing, so he wants me to come and work for them full time. And so that's how I started working for Tricona. I learned a lot in Tricona. I think Tricona is my second best company I've worked at. I learned things about professional tools. I learned about like what a proper organized working system is. They had amazing structures basically, you understand? And I still work with Tricona up until date. Not 9 to 5, I still work with them as like a contract staff, so when they have stuff, they bring to me. So yeah. Then sometime in 2024 still, I got a call from my cousin And I want to explain this story like this. You get? I got a call from my cousin say he has an accommodation in Lagos for me. That if I choose, I can come and stay there. And I think he said he was going to cover the rent for a couple of years and whatnot. I say, He said that everything is in the house. He has gym, he has that. You have gym. Forget it now. What are we saying? So I moved to Lagos by faith. Then when I moved to Lagos, my salary was 40,000 naira from Lycona. And then I think I worked for them for 1 month as I was in Lagos. After that 1 month, I stopped working for them. Then I was suffering in Lagos. It was not easy. I'm not gonna lie for you. And then one day, out of the blues, somebody called me, said they saw me on Instagram, that they liked my work and they want me to do 2 brand identities for them. So okay, was I really suffering in Lagos? I was suffering, but like compared to now, I was suffering, but I was doing okay. So I was increasing my prices. So I told you my price was 80K, right? It was still 80K up until this time. But something happened when I went to Lagos again. I increased the 80K price to 400 and something K. Then the middle one was 200K. So when I sent them the pricing, they told me that what they can pay, I think it was 295K. They wanted me. So I did 2 for them. And I'm not going to like share this with you because I think this brand was really beneficial to me. Yeah, so this lady, Mrs. Babs. Then after that, I really loved this project because it was a movie. So it was a movie company. So their first ever movie, Redemption of Jane, I was the one that worked on their cover and the graphics, everything. So on this day, this was the screening of the movie. I think there's another image of that Andrew something played, and my name was there, graphics and whatever. What did be seeing crazy? I snapped it and sent to my mother. Scroll up. Yeah. So the next slide. All right. Then in 2025, I think the issue where I was saying was that at the point the light became scarce. When light is scarce, what that now leads to is that I'm not really doing a lot of works. I'm not really doing a lot of works. So I just, there's this story in the Bible about lepers that wanted to enter a city. They were there, they were like, if we stay here, we die. If we stay here, what's going on? Come here. Alright. So if we stay here, we die. If we move, we die. Let's move and see. You get. So prior to February 2025, I had gone to this workspace that I really liked. And And they told me that a month for you to work there. This is why I'm going to give kudos to InSpace because you guys are paying 15,000 naira per month. Yeah. But then it was 50K per month. I'm not like, how much am I making in a month? You get? But as God may have it, I think another thing I want to talk about is in 2024, crossing over 2025, I got a gig to edit videos for somebody's YouTube channel. Yeah, so that's what fed me for a while. And I think one thing to draw out of that is I was learning video editing because I was doing content creation and working for some companies, and it didn't make sense to me. But it was when the girl just reached out to me, I was like, oh, I don't have anybody to design my YouTube channel, to edit videos for my YouTube channel. I was like, why not? I can edit videos for you. We discussed the video. I don't like editing videos, but I just block out one night. You edited one video, block out another night. So like in 4 nights, you can make your salary. You get, so she was paying me per month. So this girl reached out to me again in February, and she wanted to do like branding for her event or something. And she gave me the first 50K, and as I got that money, I told myself, I'm going to go to that workspace. I'm going to find a way to negotiate that I'm able to pay 30,000 naira and at least use 20,000 naira to be alive, pay transport and whatnot. You get. These are life. Some people think it's joke. It's real, man. You have to be alive. So I paid 30K, and I was able to use the remaining 20K to come. And I don't know how, but like I started getting gigs to work, because if I stayed in the house and say, oh, there's no light, it's not my fault now. See, I can't right now, my house in Lagos, I can't remember the last time I saw light for 5 hours. Do you know what that means? It means I on gen on a regular. And I can't remember the last time I told the client that I'm so sorry, my gen is not on. I'm so sorry, there's no light. Because it's not going to make sense. Like, I'm paying you money to work. I'm not saying Nigeria is good and that's how it's supposed to be, but those things are excuses. You get? So, going to the workspace really changed my life. I met new people. I saw somebody that works at a very big agency in Nigeria. What's the name of this agency? Check DC. I learned that the brand guy I was doing since, the brand design I was doing since, was, man, now these people, they do visual identity guides, verbal identity guides, sonic identity guide, motion identity guides, mad work like this. Then that's where I also learned about Figma. I met two of the people that now work with me at my agency. I met, thank God, I had something else in my mind, posting videos on YouTube. So yeah, and I actually got bigger opportunities. Scroll down. Yeah, I think it really opened doors for me. And yeah, Instagram started paying. Yeah, I started running Instagram ads, and they were converting like crazy. You get? I got a gig for Soraya, and this was my first ever 350K that I ever got in my life. I reached out to Rob, and Rob worked on the brand with me. Yeah, I think right now, when I posted the process of Soraya on YouTube, it has over 14,000 views right now. You get? Soraya was a massive project. I don't think what they paid is pari passu, even the brand guide itself. You see the brand guide now? It's not it, but I think for me, what that was that I have learned new skills, things concerning brand identity. I've grown my skills. So let me just do something that's going to challenge me because we did a lot for them. We did illustrations from scratch for them. You get? But man, I worked on the brand. So I think what I did after now was I started using this to pitch to all the clients. See the amazing work I did for this client. They paid over 1 million naira. So if you want to get something, right? How would I tell you that they paid 350K? I want you to pay. Do you understand? Yeah. So I kept on running more ads. Ads really helped me as well. Scroll down. So I kept on running more ads, and yeah, I think sometime around May, on the 5th of May, I started work at another architectural company. But guess what? This one was the best. I've not worked in another job since then, but this is the best company I've ever worked with so far. They had mad structure. They gave me company laptop. See, when they gave me that, I was, why would you give me company laptop? I get a laptop now. But first of all, I went there, everybody was a company laptop. What again? I think every end of 2 months, they're going to take you out. We'll just go out and hang out. One of the end of 2 months, we went to a buffet. And then they can never forget me from that buffet. Because the accountant of the company gets to tell me, increase, thank you for not wasting our money. Because with buffet, what happens is that if you don't finish everything, the hotel takes back their food. You get? So it was really amazing. I got to learn about company structure. You get? I think it was also a massive picture of possibility for me, because I'm working at a company that their regular client is MTN. One day I went to MTN because I was working as a graphic designer there. So I was also supervising the installation of artworks for the company. So one day I went to MTN to install it, and I was like, "It's MTN, why do you use?" I went like I could enter any part of the company I wanted to enter. They're working for Nivea, the body cream that we use. They're working for Lafarge. So these people are not, they're not, what would I call it? They're not small. You get, I think earlier this year, I was still working there. And okay, I think this is sensitive information, so let me not share it. But Shisha came to the company and it was like, we don't really have a lot of money. And right now, we have a certain amount of money with our clients. And this money is in hundreds of millions. You get, so they are doing well. They have over 50 staff. So you get, some of them are in Abuja, I think over 60 something staff, Abuja, Lagos, and whatnot. There was a whole team for design. I was not the only graphic designer, which is new to me because almost every other company I had ever worked in, there were 2 graphic designers, and I was not going to work every day. You get, but I think another thing that also happened working for this company, I think it's just the providence of God that it was from the first day I started working at the company, I started getting gigs from Instagram. People started opening their eyes up to the fact that increased designs. They started referring me to their friends. Their friend, I think one of the gigs I got, somebody posted it on their status, and another person now posted it on their status again. Somebody now saw it and referred me, gave me the first person's number. The first person now gave me the second person's number. You get, the referral was crazy. You get, next slide, please. So yeah, I worked there for 10 months. I think I started working there in May and I resigned in February this year. So yeah, then we worked on puffs. One of my ads converted and I got a client to work on puffs. I think this is one of my best projects right now. And when I wanted to work on puffs, I met one of the guys that I met in the workspace, and I was like, bro, there's this huge project. The client is paying well, you get, and I think we can do massive stuff because also he designs websites and I don't design websites. Do you understand? So I think let's partner and do it. And so I think another thing I wanted to tell you guys concerning this course was when I don't think I want the client to see this, but when I was going to the discovery call, the first call with the client, I just thought of it. Let me not go to this call alone. I called my cousin, and she came in as my assistant, and I was just like, all right, thank you so much. Okay, no, I think I started this assistant stuff, but it was not really official. You get, so because she was in her IT then, so I just told the client, my assistant is on the call with me. Her name is this. She's going to help take notes and whatnot, all those kind of lingua. And it really helped my man. I think it really helped her perceive us to be not just a one-man business. You get. When I called Ifunaya after we had concluded on pricing and everything, Ifunaya, he liked what he saw and he joined and we worked on it. Then we now also started joining as a team. You get, on calls, we worked on their mood board and whatnot, and we delivered on the brand. Yeah, Rob also worked with us for this project. So I think this project was by me, Rob, Ifunaya, and one other guy in Lagos, Casey. So yeah, 4 people worked on this project. All right, next slide. Yeah, so I think from the other slide, what then happened is after working on puffs, this was towards late last year, we decided that why not we do this thing properly and set up an agency where we would have clients come and we do more than just flyer design, you get, and we're able to charge more and make more money, and that's where we are at now. So my life today, I'm growing our agency. We're doing more than brand identity design. We're doing marketing. We're doing illustration. We have somebody for 3D animation and whatnot. I'm also growing my YouTube channel by God's grace. Then we also have some retainer clients. So retainers are people that pay you every end of the month. So since I quit my job, I've just been on these other things and referrals. And so that is where we are. Do we have any questions? I think that's in the slide. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Okay. I think in the next slide I said okay. All right. So we're supposed to have a speaker come up. We're supposed to have a speaker come up now, but he's not yet in the building. Let's thank God. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to call on thank God. Thank you so much, everybody.